this is Rob, Quilting on a Budget. Today we're going to talk about my Janome 12000 with a brief overview. This machine has an 11-inch harp, easy to pop off needle plate, and this also has embroidery. And one of the unique features of Janome is the embroidery arm, which is robotic, and it's in the back of the machine instead of on the side. So you always have to have your machine pulled away from the wall enough to open this, because that's as far as it will ever go, but it moves left to right, and then the slide on the arm moves back and forth to adjust everything. And I have the extra spool holder for cones built into this machine, and it has in the back an electronic presser foot lift, because everything on this machine is totally electronic. And on the side you have two standard USB ports for your USB sticks, plus it has a standard USB-A port for direct connection to your computer, and it comes with software called a Horizon Link, so you can create your own stitches and also manipulate a little bit of the embroidery before sending it to your machine. This knob here is about balancing your stitches as well as doing some other fine-tuning depending on what you're doing. And it's pretty standard sewing machine that way. Bobbin winder. It has a few places for accessories, thread path, standard. So now we'll turn it on so you can see a little bit about the interface. And the reason I have both stitch plates out here is because I had the straight stitch plate in because I've got it set up for embroidery. But it doesn't let you go through the stitches because it recognizes the stitch plate. Everything about this machine is computerized. And here's a list of all the stitches that are available on this machine in the lid. But you go through your menus. Here's your utility stitches, straight stitch. This straight stitch here is a Lock-O-Matic, which what it does is it sews 3 tiny stitches forward, 3 tiny stitches back, then starts sewing. When you end the pattern, it sews 3 forward, and it sews 3 back, 3 forward, and ending for the lock. This one is a traditional locking stitch, and it does 5 small stitches in place to lock it. This moves your needle to the far left, standard triple stitch, and then we get in if you see one with an M, that means it bases the needle in the center of the 9 millimeters. Left means it moves to the left, and R means it moves the needle to the far right. And in zigzag, that means your zigzag is based with an even stitch on the right hand side here, and zigzags in and out against that instead of being in the middle. Or you can move it to the left and it zigzags based on the left hand side. Then you have your buttonhole menu with many choices. This is your quilting menu, and like here is applique stitches, and again you see medium, right. Here are the left ones, and it goes through all your basic stitches. But if we go back, we have our heirloom stitches, quilting stitches, and this is for piecing. And if you have your AccuFeed, which I will demonstrate, and it will do a perfect 1/4-inch stitch, but you have to have your zigzag plate, which I'll show you. And this is called a Sashiko stitch, and it does one stitch forward, one stitch back, 2 stitches small in the center, and does that. And then this one does the same thing, but then does a very small stitch. So like if you're using a 60 weight or 80 weight, you have a very thick stitch followed by a very thin stitch. And then you have your swirling and different things, but there's lots of quilting stitches in this system. And like the heirloom stitches, you have your basic heirlooms, which you use. And then of course your satin stitch for satin stitch applique, and your bridge stitches, decorative stitches. But then we come back, we have our alphabet. This one has 4 alphabets, but you can add more with the horizon link. And then we have our own stitches. Like I said, with the software you can create your own 9mm stitches and upload them via the USB or directly from your computer. And I don't have any of those. And then this is the famous t-shirt menu, and it's based on what you do. You have your seaming, your over edge, blind hem, rolled hem, zipper, gathering, and it does the techniques for you. Your basting, it does basic sewing on a button, tacking, applique, patchwork, and then like it has its free motion quilting. You can do straight stitch, clasp stitch, which is basically the machine will do quilt tying for you. So you just go through and it does like little clasp shapes for you to tie your quilt periodically. And quilting. And then you have your free quilting, which is free motion. And you can do a straight stitch, zigzag, straight stitch 2, straight, and it has all these different settings for it. And you go back and then it has your sculptured stitches, which is sculpture 1, sculpture 2, and a sashiko. And then it has your hand look, which it randomly sizes them. Then it has variable zigzag. And on this machine, when you use variable zigzag, you have your knee lift, which I do not have installed. And as you push your knee lift to the right, like you would usually use to raise your presser foot a little bit, the knee lift will make the zigzag wider. All the way off is a straight stitch, so you can variable as you're sewing. And you have all these options, which this is the basic things. And like when you go in the quilting, it automatically drops your feed dogs. It does everything that it's supposed to do. And your buttons, it has thread snips. And see, everything's electronic. Pressure foot up, down, needle up, down. This is end of pattern, reverse, and a straight stitch. One of the great things about this machine is it has extra lighting, which it moves to angle the lighting like you want. And it has speed control. And this machine stitches up to 1,000 stitches per minute. So it's quite fast, and it's a good strong machine. And it comes with the AccuFeed Flex system, which I'll make a separate video. But this is a basic overview of the Janome 12000, which has similar features to the Janome 14000 and the 15000. The 14000 had a little bit of upgrade in embroidery. The 15000s had some major upgrades. It has Wi-Fi, and it also has ruler work for free motion with rulers. It has AccuFeel, which is Janome's edge-to-edge quilting using the embroidery module, all that is built into the price of the machine. And I have this one, and the only limit that this one has that I find is that it limits you to 100,000 stitches in an embroidery design. It also comes with 3 embroidery hoops standard. It has a 230 millimeter by 300 millimeter, and it has a 230 by 230, which is 9.1 inches by 9.1 inches, which is perfect for quilting. And then it has a smaller 140 by 140, which is just like a little over 5.5 inches. And then it comes with a small hoop for monogramming, like on shirt cuffs or collars or things. And it's a nice machine. It comes pretty much with everything. In the next video, I'll go over all the accessories, and I'm starting an embroidery project in the next few days, so we'll have some information on the embroidery. Hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Quilting on the Budget on YouTube. And again, this is Rob with Quilting on a Budget. Have a great day. Bye.